Hey, what's going on, guys? Today on the channel we're going to be taking a look at tvOS 17 here on my Apple TV. So this was just released about a week or so ago, along with iOS 17, iPadOS 17, and watchOS 10. So there are quite a few changes and differences here in tvOS. So let's go ahead and talk about all these different things here. So the first thing that we'll talk about is kind of like something to do with iOS 17. They have changed the way that the actual Apple TV control looks. So if you notice, when you pull down on Control Center with your iPhone, you'll see that the icon looks a little bit different. It looks more like the second generation Siri remote. Also, when you actually go in to your TV of choice, you'll notice that it'll kind of show you what the controls do on each side of your phone, but the play and pause button, the menu button, and the TV button all look a little bit different. There's also a mute button up top now and a power button as well. This is also important because in here, if you have a second generation Siri remote, you now have the ability to be able to find that using your iPhone with Find My. So I unfortunately do not have a second gen TV remote, but if I did, up in the top right corner near that power button, you'll have the option to be able to find the remote, and then it'll be able to kind of guide you to it, kind of like how AirTags work. So that is pretty cool. Also, something else to talk about here is, of course, on tvOS, we have the ability to have different profiles, and those profiles can be activated, of course, up in your control center in the top right hand corner. And instead of having to actually switch back and forth between profiles to get to your correct one, if you have your iPhone and you use it to actually turn on your Apple TV with the TV Remote app, then it'll automatically sign you into your profile. So that's kind of a step that you don't have to take anymore, as long as you use your iPhone to control your Apple TV. Now, since we've kind of mentioned the Control Center a little bit here, you'll notice that Control Center has been completely redesigned, and it actually looks a whole lot better. So now you no longer have the Control Center pop up on the right hand side and take up the entire side. So up top you can see what the time is, kind of in a much smaller format. You also have controls for Control Center, and then if we swipe over to the right, you'll see your different profiles. So that's what I was talking about a moment ago. That's where you can select your profiles now. But let's talk about Control Center. So the biggest one in here, of course, is the power button. You have your power off button right there. Down here is kind of like your AirPlay settings. So right now we're actually screen recording to my Mac, so that's why it has that there with the speakers. But this is where you can do all your different audio output controls. So whether you want it to go to your TV speakers, your HomePods, or another Apple TV, etc., this is where you'll be able to control all those items right there. And then also down here we have controls for your game controllers if you had any of those connected. We also have, I believe this is accessibility controls maybe right here. You also have parental controls, and then you have search, of course. And then up top here we have Wi-Fi and your focus mode, do not disturb mode. And then we have a new sleep timer function here. So now you can set a timer for how long you want the Apple TV to wait before it actually goes to sleep. So maybe if you only want it to be on for 30 minutes, you could set it for that, or maybe you want 2 hours, you can set it for that, and then the TV will go to sleep automatically for you. Another thing you'll notice here is there's actually some different AirPod controls. So your AirPods are still available, of course, under your audio output settings. Well, let's go ahead and see if we can select these and see if we have some different controls. So if you notice up top, we have our little AirPod symbol that has appeared. So you can swipe over to that and you can see that you have your different options here. So you have noise control, spatial audio, and also spatialized stereo. And if you had newer AirPods, unlike I do, you would have some of the additional AirPods controls right there. So they've kind of redesigned the AirPod controls here in Control Center as well. Just like on other releases that were announced here, we have some improved Siri functions here. So you can basically ask her more information now, and she'll be able to kind of figure that out. Also, you can just say Siri now, which may activate on my phone, but if you have that enabled, you can just use that on your Apple TV as well. So Siri can handle more information. Also, one thing that I probably should have mentioned first that you've probably noticed here is that now you have up to 6 icons displayed in a row. So 6 of your apps are across your screen now instead of what it used to be. So it kind of allows you to see more apps at a time and fit more applications on your screen. So a little bit of a design change there. Now, as far as applications go, there are a few changes in some of these. So first off, you'll notice one app that is missing that I can actually not access because apparently you have to have a second generation Apple TV 4K or later. Well, I have the first generation, so I'm just barely out of luck there. But you do now have the ability to have FaceTime on your Apple TV. So you have the FaceTime app. If your Apple TV can handle it, of course, you'll have that application, and you'll be able to use the continuity camera through your iPhone to be able to see your FaceTime call take place on your Apple TV. And there's all sorts of new kind of different display modes, so you could still have your FaceTime call over on the right hand side. You could have your Apple TV stuff still going on the left. So there's a lot of different customizations and controls on there. So you can have a proper looking FaceTime call. Now I think this is a pretty good thing because they've already had apps like Zoom and WebEx come out and say that they are working on applications for Apple TV. So Apple TV may allow video conferencing to be a lot better and be able to see it on the big screen instead of on a computer. So you now have FaceTime on there. The continuity camera is opening opportunities for other developers like Zoom and WebEx, like I just said. So it'll be interesting to see how that all works in the future. In the Music app, you now have the ability to have Apple Music Sing. I'm a Spotify user, so I don't have the ability to do this. But if you have Apple Music, you can now do Apple Music Sing with the lyrics here on Apple TV. Another app that's gotten some updates, of course, is Apple Fitness Plus. So if you go into the fitness application, again, I don't pay for this either, so I can't show you this, but you do have the ability to create custom workout plans. Now, this was a feature, of course, that was introduced on iOS 17 and iPadOS 17. So the custom plans, it just makes sense for those to be available here on your TV as well. So if you create a custom plan on your phone or your iPad or Apple TV, whatever, they'll be across all your devices for you. Another thing here is Apple has a new feature. If you go into settings, you go into video and audio, you can scroll down here and you'll notice this new option that says reduce loud sounds. So you can see it says enjoy movies and music without disturbing others. Experience softer sound effects and music, but keep all the detail of the original sound level. So you can kind of turn this on and it will allow you to better hear people's voices, basically. So whether you're enjoying some content in a movie or you're listening to music on Apple Music, you'll be able to select that option and kind of filter out all the loud sounds and background noise. So that's a pretty cool feature. Also, you don't have to turn it on right here. If you're in a Apple TV show or you're listening to a song on Apple Music, there'll be a little option on the bottom right hand side near where your closed captioning or things like that would be, so you can turn it on individually for a movie or song, whatever, as well. Of course, it wouldn't be an Apple TV update if there weren't any new screensavers. So there are new screensavers here that we can activate and actually look at. So we hit the menu button. Which ones are new? That one looks new to me. Central, been out before. But there's just a lot of different new screensavers. The Apple TV has screensavers out there. They look really, really good. Here's one of the Golden Gate Bridge before. California wildflower, cool. And if this goes on and on. Some jellyfish, very interesting. I would hate to be the guy that filmed this one. Another thing here, of course, is there is third-party VPN support. So now you can download VPNs and you can use them here on your Apple TV. One thing I've also noticed here is there are kind of some different pop-up messages that you may get. Not necessarily like a new message, but just the way they look. So for example, if I go to my system and I go to software updates here and we check for software, you'll see that this pop-up looks different. So the kind of pop-up messages that you get are going to look like that now. They're not going to take up your entire screen and blur everything out like it previously did. And I think that's kind of a cleaner look, honestly, than the previous ones. But we can see right here also what's new. I'm pretty sure I've covered all these, as you can see. So memories as screensavers. Oh, that's another thing. Forgot about that part. You can now use your photo memories as screensavers if you don't want to use Apple's screensavers that they have. We talked about the Control Center. We talked about Fitness Plus, Siri enhancements, VPN support. There's also enhanced dialogue with your HomePod so you can hear speech more clearly. Which is kind of what I was talking about a minute ago. And the only other thing that I've heard about that's kind of new here is there is now the ability to restore your Apple TV from your iPhone. So if something goes wrong with your Apple TV, you'll actually get a little pop-up error message on your iPhone, and it'll ask you whether or not you want to reset your Apple TV from your phone. So kind of makes it a little bit easier there. But yeah, guys, other than that, I believe that that is everything new here in tvOS 17. This is at least the main features, of course. So definitely some welcome changes. I think FaceTime is a pretty big deal here to finally have on the TV, Apple TV. Let me know what you guys think about this update in the comments down below, and let me know if I missed anything. Maybe you found a feature that I have not noticed. But anyways, guys, thank you all for watching the channel as always, and I will catch you all in the next video.